What's up, all you motorcycle enthusiasts, and welcome to the Vtwin Life here on YouTube. We talk motorcycles powered by those V-twins, what fuels their passion, why you enjoy it so much. Vtwin Life is brought to you by these two great companies, Crash Inc. Clothing and Wild Ass Seats. Hey, you want to add some comfort to your ass when you're out riding, whether you're a 400-mile guy or maybe a guy that's pushing 1,000 plus, or female rider for that matter? Hey, check out wild-ass.com and add some comfort to your ass. Can't forget Crashing Clothing, that Northwest brand out of the Pacific Northwest. Hey, these guys got a lot of great stuff, from t-shirts to hats, raincoats, you name it. Hey, they can get you covered. Check out crashingclothing.com. Now, let's dive into another milepost of the Vtwin Life.
What's up, guys, and welcome to Milepost 46. We bring back Ray Robledo with the Harley Showcase. It's been a while. I think, God, it was February when you first came on, kind of at the beginning, and you've really got your own program going, which is pretty cool. We thought we'd fucking touch base again and check out how you've grown and your platform that you've kind of built, because that's a cool thing about, podcasting and all this, is there's so many different avenues people can go, and you've really, taken your avenue. Of course, we were talking earlier about, you've been looking at, expanding, I guess you could say, and it's like, shit, why not get together again and BS bikes and talk all kinds of shit.
Definitely, man. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. Anytime I hear anything like that, first of all, it's humbling to hear, that people like what I'm doing, see what I'm doing. I'm legit doing it. I said it then, I'll say it again, because I love these machines. I love these bikes. I grew up in a certain kind of genre of it. So I enjoy actually doing it. It's a cool kickback time. I'm literally sitting in the garage right now with you. A couple of beers, TV, got motorcycles around me. I'm just looking at parts, kind of, thinking, and what isn't there to like, man?
Exactly. That's cool because, last time when you were first on the podcast, you hadn't even started the showcase yet. I mean, that wasn't even, I don't even think we even touched on that, because I don't think that was exactly anywhere in the game plan yet. I can't remember, but
no, I think I think I had started it right. I was probably only about a month in, so you were one of the first guys that I talked to outside of it a little bit, and like somebody that was doing something similar. And so you and I linked up with one. We did ours in February. I started the showcase in January of this year. So I was like 3-4 episodes into it at the time, and it got a good jump start. Just 4 weeks into it, it got a nice receival kind of rate. So people were liking it, and it got a good jump start to it. And now it's just been quality dudes on there that come kicking, and we come and talk bullshit and everything, man. It's been fun.
Yeah, actually. Dude, you might want to turn your TV down just a hair, because I'm getting a whole bunch of your TV in the background.
Yeah, man, I could do that. I got my headphones in, so it doesn't. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go, man. I'm sorry, boss. You know what? Because I could hear it muffled through my earphones, not realizing it's loud on the outside. So my bad, man. My bad.
Which is cool. What I like. I mean, actually, I was able to jump in on one besides the showcase. You kind of got the Thirsty Thursday going, and you kind of got a couple different vibes going. You're doing yours, kind of the Instagram going live and whatnot, and like I said, you're taking your own spin on this whole little adventure that we all enjoy. The passion.
Yeah,
I started with the Vtwin Life motorcycles. You said you kind of got your spin going, and it's cool how everybody can interact on so many different platforms, and kind of share that passion that we all have for motorcycles.
Definitely. I agree with that. I guess what I've realized now doing this is each one kind of has to have its own little, I guess, niche, or its own little kind of, distinctiveness. That might be the way to put it. And, and I think what I've, not what I figured out, man, but just like by sitting here and chilling, what I've realized is that real dudes vibe to next real dudes. So what I'm doing on the showcase is I'm bringing in the guys that don't have. I'm myself following them and seeing their bikes through Instagram, and then maybe I found something else, and then I'm like, that's a badass bike. Dude looks cool, but they're not really anybody that's like got sponsors or has a shop or like has a big old. It's just dudes like me that I'm like, hey man, I want to talk to you about your bike and bullshit about your bike. And I think that's what's kind of been good for it, or kind of the draw to it a little bit, is it's not so much just about sponsor stuff, and it's just talking with dudes that are sitting in the garage like you and I are doing right now.
And I've gotten the same, kind of the same feedback. It's like you send messages to people you find, on social media, and guys are like, why me, man? I'm just an average Joe. I'm like, dude, I'm just an average Joe the same way. It's like,
Yeah.
we have that common ground. I said, and that's how it is. Not, I mean, you might have, your dream interviews with people. Hey, maybe someday I can talk to, whoever, but it's just all about connecting with other people and just, sharing that passion.
Yeah, man. It's been really cool to meet some of these people. I've had some stuff going on in like my personal life where I haven't been able to get on the road and see them as much, because I haven't been riding as much as I would like to. Shit, if we all could, if we could really say how much we want to ride, probably every damn day. But I got family, I got this, and I have some stuff go on, and so doing this still with people is my way to be able to still like kick it, be in the garage, tinker, and all that shit, man. So
I'm in the same boat, man. It's like, I wish I could get more time on the, last year I was able to just the last couple of years, enjoy the road and just get out all the time. And, now work's so busy. It's like, you gotta work to be able to have fun too.
we actually need to do one with you, man. We got to do one with you. You got to get on there with me, and we got to show up. I think you and I have talked about. You've shared the story about your bike and its journey and where it came from and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So you should jump on there with me one of these Sundays, man, and kind of, because that's cool side to it too, man. The sentimental shit, the why I have this bike, because some people have a bike just because they wanted the brand new shit. Some people have a bike because there's a sentimental. I have a sentimental bike as well, and it's you should come on there and talk to me one of these Sundays, man. We should set that up.
Heck yeah, we could do that. Actually, it'll be fun. My dad he's not the most technology savvy guy. That he says he's got Wi-Fi in a shop now. He would be another fun one if I go up there with him, actually get both bikes, because he actually just did a ton of work to his 19 Road Glide.
Okay.
Put a new cam. And he's having a blast. He, spent all kinds of money, but did a bunch of upgrades, and he's freaking super excited about it.
Oh, I bet, man. Anytime you bolt anything else onto one of those bikes, you get excited a little bit more. And then the problem when you bolt something onto it or you do something to it, you're like, okay, what's next? Like it's a constant like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, and I'm pretty curious to see how much it's going to really open up his 107, because with the change in the cam, he went to that more of a high volume oil pump plus the true duals. He's running, God, I think they're 6-inch slip-ons, because with his, he didn't like the gap between the saddlebag and the stock pipe, so he bought the biggest mufflers that he could find, pipes to fill that gap. And then he finally, I think he went with Vance and Hines True Duals and got the programmer, and like I said, the cams, the oil pump, the new intake, and God, I can't remember what else he bought, but I think it's really going to wake that 107 up. And from the guys I've talked to that have done similar deals, said, man, you won't believe the difference it makes.
Oh, you'll be chasing him, that's for sure. You'll be sure. Chasing. Yeah, he'll have some fun with it, crack it a little bit. That's going to be a nice little hot setup that he'll have right there.
Oh, it is. He gets, whether it's on his bike or in his freaking hot rod. He's like a fucking 16-year-old kid. It's wide open if it's in the car. It's burnouts from the stoplights and having fun. For an older guy, he's still, he gets on his toys and it's like he's a teenager, which is fun.
Hey,
we enjoy so much time.
Pay to play, right? Pay to play. That's the name of this. That's the name of any motorcycle game. But unfortunately, with Harleys, it's like the next level of pay to play.
Well, speaking of pay to play, have you made any decisions on which avenue or what you got going on with your situation, we could call it?
As far as like other ventures that I'm kind of looking
No,
at.
I'm talking about your engine.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, let me tell
We're
you.
going down that rabbit hole, buddy.
Yeah. So let me tell you, man. Some context to it for anybody that's going to listen to this later on and doesn't know. Bottom line is my engine uh, took crap, and the culprit was the bottom end taking a shit. And so this is where Denver's asking me, what have you figured out? What have you got to this point, and what is your next move? So I have decided, Denver, since I wanted to go with a dark horse crank, man of war crank. There's a time period and a wait period that is longer than I wanted to wait. Um, and there's also a difference in cost. Okay. So weighing in those two factors and going, it's going to cost me more and take longer, or I can just buy an S&S crank that's in stock and can be put in. And that's the option that I ended up going with. Was I just bought an S&S bottom end crank.
And and honestly, I don't think. I mean, I can understand the way you wanted to go, but when you go with S&S, man, I mean that's a tried and true tested and a name that has proven themselves when it comes to Harley engines.
Definitely, yeah, they have some, and so like on that same note, I went with an S&S crank. I ended up going with the S&S crank, and then just getting the bearings and the races redone on my cases, and just going that route because it was cheaper and it was faster. And S&S is a reputable name, like you said, reputable in the industry, and they build good products. But on the flip end of that, the extreme end was going to be to buy like the 128 S&S and just drop a whole stinking crate engine in that thing, and then just let her rip. Just let the thing eat her. It's a 124 or 128. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it was to buy just their drop in thing that was on the complete opposite side of the dollar spectrum. And so I got a little baby girl on the way, a kid I'm putting through private school, and another one that's on the way. I got a 1 year old and another one that's about to be born in a couple of weeks, man. So I got a little other priorities where I'm shifting my money to. So
Understandable. Family
yeah,
comes first, but
oh,
you have the
100%.
dream toys.
Yeah, I still have toys. I got shit in my garage. And the reality of it is, can I afford it? Yeah. And even when you can afford it, even when you can afford it, to spend that much money, when ripping that band-aid, getting to like when you do that, that hurts. That's a sting, man. I don't even with
Yeah.
at least to me, even if I can afford it, and I'm still like, it still stings, man, to hand over that much cash.
Oh yeah, I get it, man. I looked and dreamed about when the time comes, looking at like the S&S 121. It's like, oh, gotta be great. And I mean, I got a buddy that's got a 121 in his God, I think it's '05 Electric Glide. And Jesus, man, I mean he's put a few more goodies into it. I mean, that damn thing will pull wheelies.
I
It's
bet.
flat out impressive. I mean, he does a lot of riding. He's got a small trailer he'll pull when he takes on his little trips, a little pop up, camper tent, and it's a damn impressive motor. It's like, God, that would be freaking sweet.
Oh yeah. Oh, so let me ask you a question. Which do you know what kind of would you do? Would you be willing to spend 7 grand, 8 grand is somewhere where that engine was gonna cost me, or would you go the other route?
Uh it would be tough, man. I would have to think, but I mean, it is something that's like I love to, but I mean, looking at the circumstances, understanding what you got going on. I mean, I've been in those
Yeah.
shoes, and it's like,
Oh,
you kind of gotta weigh the pros and cons. Like, yeah, I want it, but you know what? I got to do this. I got these priorities with my family, and
well,
it's like I had a similar thing years ago. It's like, you know what? I can do this maybe in 10 years. I want to do it now, but you know what? I'm gonna have to put this part on hold because I got to do this over here. And you kind of
yeah,
you weigh the priorities, and I get that 100%. I mean, that's why I
yeah.
sold my old bike, and I had that 10-year hiatus on motorcycles. Like, I'm going to get another one next year. And that didn't happen because, my boys, found the love of travel baseball. My daughters, found doing club volleyball, then found into horses. Kids young. It's like, what? I can get my toys later. And,
Yeah.
family first, we're going to do this.
Kids are expensive, huh, homie?
Oh, man. I'm at the point, my youngest one turns 19 next week, and I'm turning 44 next March. It's like, what? I still got plenty of time. My wife and I, we still have, a lot of time to do the stuff we want to do. And it's like, what? We spend our years, doing everything to give our kids the best childhood. And dude, we have no regrets whatsoever. And, we've found so many places through traveling with horses and volleyball and baseball. We found so many neat places and whatnot through sports and everything with our kids. It's like, now, it's like we can take fun trips together. It's like, hey, you know what? We've been down this area. Remember this place and whatnot. And we found some really cool places that, we've revisited some. And, it's nice to have that familiarity of small towns and little hole in the wall places that we probably would have never found if it wasn't for that too.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. I hear that. My next move is, I guess if there's anything I did smart, it was buy a lot of my toys before my kids like really like I kind of just had them and I still have them here. So I at least had my toys, pre entering it a little bit, but, that definitely stinking helped, man.
Yeah, but you know what? You get all those memories and those fun times that it's like they say, you talk to people that have had children, they say, you know what? In a blink of an eye, you won't believe how fast time goes. And you don't think of it. And then all of a sudden, like, my instance, my kids, I have two that are, well, one's already, my daughter's coming up on 23. Their son is going to be 21 in February. The youngest one's turning 19 next week. And it's like, you don't believe how fast time goes.
Oh, I know, man. I know.
Yesterday, they were in elementary school. It's like, holy shit, I don't have one. And, the middle son's in college. The other one's getting ready to do his stuff in spring. It's like, man, where does time go?
It goes by quick, man. It goes by faster the older we get. Notice that? It goes by a lot faster now, the older that we get.
The one thing I tell, people that I've got to know and understand, say, we all have kids at different times in life. And I think to anybody, it's like, the only advice that I would love to give is you take plenty of pictures, take lots of them, because you don't get those times back. And having those pictures to look back on, man, that's huge.
Yeah, you're right. I've in my maturing, growing up, adulting, being a dad phase and all that shit. That is one thing that I have. I can relate to you a lot on, because I have realized the importance of that shit. Through the loss of my old man, and I just lost my stepdad also of 29 years. Rest in peace to both of them. I've lost two really solid, good men in my life in the past 2.5 years, and things like that put shit into perspective a lot. But now as a dad, and then hearing what you're saying, and then what's happened recently, you realize that those moments, those pictures, that type of stuff right there, it's irreplaceable. It's the shit that you need to do, man, because don't be such a hard ass all the time and don't take a picture. Don't. I've learned to get past that part of my toughness, where I was like, I ain't taking a picture. Or when I did take a picture, I wasn't smiling, or like I was over there too busy being young and tough, So
I get that. It's
take pictures. Take pictures.
I think it's been about 2.5 years ago, I lost my uncle, who was more like, my best friend. He was all through growing up. He literally, I would say, was another father figure. And when he passed away, I was going through stuff. It's like, man, I think I might have had like 12 pictures maybe. And I think, it's like, man, you start scrolling through. It's like, I got plenty of stuff, memories in my head, but it just really hurts. Like, man, you don't have more of those to look back on. And
Definitely,
it's one of those things,
man.
you know, when you have kids, hey, nowadays with these smartphones, memories, and the cloud, it's like, man, take pictures because you can't get those times back.
That is absolutely the truth, man. I remember giving my old man shit because he would be over there just taking pictures. Like, think, he'd just be over there like taking a picture of stuff. I'm like, there goes my old man snapping a photo of some random stuff. And now that I'm older, guess what I'm doing? I'm over there in the corner taking a picture. Hey, you know what's sad, man? It is bad. This is when you know, and fuck, I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't give a shit. This is when you know you've reached kind of the old age adult status. Have you seen those commercials? I'm sure you have those insurance commercials where they're trying to teach them not to become like their parents, and they're in like shop.
Yeah.
You know,
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, when too many of those skits relate to you, that's when you're like, wait a minute. I've hit that level. I have hit that level. Once too many of those are relatable, it's over, man. It's over.
That is too fucking funny. Hey, buddy. Hey, nice Modelo. I'm going with the Citrus Mistress here.
What Cheers, is that?
Buddy.
Who is that? The brewer? Citrus?
No, that's the name of the beer. It's brewed by Hop Valley Brewing.
Hop Valley Brewing. Cheers, brother. Yeah, I keep it to Modelo in the garage, man. I usually have the micheladas, and I get some shit for that, but that's just the Mexican in me because I like to put a little spice in there. I like it a little spicy. I like the tomato paste or the tomato that's in there. You know, I remember waking up to those and drinking them all hung over and stuff, and that's what I'm like, that's a good tasting beer. So I drink those as well.
Hey, you know what? If you like it, it's all that matters, man. You enjoy it. It's got that good taste.
Damn right, man. Damn right.
So, man, we really got off topic of motorcycles. Hey, that's all good. I don't mind, man.
Shit, I don't care, man. I'm good. Hey,
me too.
You and I tried to get this thing. What has it been? Probably like 2 weeks that we've been trying to link up, and like we were talking about right now, man.
Actually, when I looked at my notes, I think it's damn near been 3 weeks. But
okay,
you know,
yeah.
Life gets busy. That's all. That's that happens.
That's what I'm saying. And tonight I said, you know what? We've been procrastinating too long with this, and I want to kick it and talk and just bullshit and talk to Denver. Like I want to catch up with him. So I ain't got. Who cares? I don't care. We're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you
wait, actually, you know what?
Oh,
Dude,
go ahead.
Thirsty Thursday.
It is.
Enjoying Thirsty Thursday, having some brews. It's all good.
Cheers, brother. Cheers, man. That is absolutely right. So speaking of Thirsty Thursdays, you were asking me, you were texting me or called me earlier and said, hey, are we going? Because it was Thirsty Thursday. So when you say Thirsty Thursday, that's a segment for those of you guys that don't listen, don't watch. That is a segment that I do on Thursdays on Harley Showcase where I either just bullshit and talk. Most of the time we're doing some type of technical stuff or we're just talking about a specific topic or we're drinking a beer and having a topic. So I will be doing that actually when we're done with this, man. I said tonight I'm going to dedicate a night to just some podcasting and just some bullshitting. And so I'm going to go and do a live segment as soon as we're done here.
And that's why, I'd mess you. Like, shit, man, I don't want to interfere with your regular scheduled programming, So I just want to make sure, we are still on the page for this. And it's like, hey, man, if you want to do your stuff, dude, I totally get it. Because, you've got a routine going with the showcase. I think it's pretty cool. You've built a good following. You got people that are, you're always interacting with everybody. And it's pretty fucking awesome. Yeah.
What I have realized in playing with that thing is that sticking to a specific time and just keeping that time, that's just then people just know that's when you're going to be on. Like they can kind of expect to see you at 7:30 on Thursdays or 6 o'clock on Sundays. Those are the 2 nights that I come on. Any other time is just a random time, but I've realized that just by keeping it consistent, people know, oh shit, it's Thursday, I'm gonna go kick it with Ray. Oh, it's Sunday, I'm gonna go kick it with Ray and shit and bullshit. Like I just keep it consistent and keep it all the same, man. So I enjoy doing it, man. I love it, man. I don't, it's weird as that may sound. I really do enjoy doing it. My wife will sit over there in the living room because you can see my living room here from my detached garage, and she'll just sit there and watch it from the living room. And she's like, "You're just out there having a blast." I'm like, "Yep, it's a good ass time."
Yeah. Actually, you know, what was it? A month or God, probably a little over a month ago, you're doing, you know, a little Thirsty Thursday, and I was in there like, hey, dude, why don't you come on to me real quick? It's like, you know, I'm up at a big barbecue. I'm like, fuck, why not? You know, step out on the deck and
Yep.
dive into Thirsty Thursday because fuck, you know, if you're barbecuing, you got to have a beverage. So fuck it,
Yeah.
worked out
No,
awesome.
I actually, you know, for anybody that listens, watches, I actually encourage people to join me. Like a lot of my friends and buddies and whoever's watching, they'll communicate within the chat that's inside of the Instagram live. But I mean, and that's cool because I'll try and keep up with it and watch it or read it and kind of interact with it. But I encourage people to like come with me or come join me and talk about the topic or throw in their kind of 2 cents or their knowledge on the stuff. You know, on
Mm-hmm.
Sundays we showcase that stuff. We showcase one specific person on Sundays, but on Thursdays I encourage people to like watch, be part, you know, participate in it, ask questions on it. You know, so it's an all around just kind of kick back garage session. You know, like I don't know if you watched, you know, a couple of weeks ago, man, I did one on the bottom end. And I don't know if you
Yeah.
saw that or yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so
I was in there.
so I have a couple of bottom ends here. And so I was showing what it looked like with the cases kind of split apart and where that piece goes. Because some people have never seen that. They've never seen that stuff, you know, down to that aspect of it. And so
Right.
I had one sitting here, and I like to like show the mechanical side of it. I'm a very gear headed, mechanical minded kind of individual, man.
Well, and that, you know, there's a lot of people that they enjoy riding, but they might not be the most mechanical. Some of us are, some guys aren't. And, you know, there's no disrespect to those who aren't. You know, I mean, some guys will take their stuff to a dealership just because, you know, they don't want to, they're, you know, kind of afraid or they don't have that, you know, mechanical ability. And
Yep.
there's nothing wrong with that, you know. And so, you know, like you going that forth, kind of showing more stuff, you know, the bottom end, how everything works, the crank, you know, your push rod, I mean, your connecting rods, you know, how everything works. You know, some
Right.
people might get a little bit more education out of that. And no, it's fucking awesome. I mean, and that's, you see stuff like that and you kind of gotta, it can help build a picture for some people. I mean, there's been stuff, you know, like when my stator went out last year, like, man, you know, you really kind of, you know, it's like, do I want to dive into this, whatnot? And, you know, did some research, like, well, shit, I think I can do this. Called dad, hey, you know, stator went shit house. I just bought a new one. Hey, I'll be up there, you know, put the bike on the lift. Because the nice thing in my dad's shop, I mean, he just actually upgraded his bike lift to new full air, put the bike on the lift, hit a button, and it's all air power. Go up. And, you know, we're fortunate. We got, you know, dad's got the tire changer in the garage. So we do our own tire changing. We got the big bike lift. So, you know, you pull up the stools, put the bike whatever height you want. So it's eye level, wherever you're working on. And, you know, it is nice. And, you know, sometimes you might have something that might be a little intimidating, but, you know, you can do some homework. It's like, if, you know, you're somewhat mechanically inclined, it's like, all right, you know, it might be a little bit past my comfort level, but, you know, let me do some research. Let me check a few things. And, you know, saved ourselves I saved myself a bunch of money and did it all myself.
Yeah. And there's a certain sense of, there's not pride, but there's just a different bravado or something when you did it and your bike's running off of your kind of blood, sweat, and, you know, labor and that kind of stuff. There's just a certain different thing that kind of comes along with that.
No,
But
I think pride. I think you got it right. I mean, it is a level of pride because you stepped to that level. You know, you did you know, what was needed to be done. You kind of, whether you went past your comfort zone a little bit, but, you know, you got the job done, and you do get that sense of pride. It's like, hey, you know what? I was able to do this. You know what? Maybe I can also, you know, go a little farther. You know, next time I have a little problem, you know what? Let me kind of do some research. Let me do some homework. And, hey, you know what? I think I can do this. And it is a sense of pride.
That is, and yeah, I mean, to be blunt and honest, yeah, that's what it is. And exactly what you said is exactly how I got into this stuff and did it myself. Exactly what you described. I'm like, okay, I did this. Okay, let me go a little bit further into that and let's see what's kind of behind door number 2. I figured out how to take this apart and go to there. And really, it's tinkering with it. You have to be able to just kind of put your hands on it and just kind of like step into it and study it and look at it and that type of shit. It's intimidating because I remember when I first started messing with it, like, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and I started messing with the stuff. I was like, it's intimidating because it's a damn motorcycle. Like, you don't know, if you're not extremely familiar, you don't know if that bolt or that connector or that something is not going to make your bike run completely. You have no, you can unplug a spark plug freaking wire and your bike not start, and you would never know if you didn't have some type of general shit. It can be something that easy to screw shit up. So it's intimidating.
Oh, it is. And, and like with my instance, when my first problem, like my stator went out. I'm coming back from, a bike ride, a couple 100-mile ride, with the Road Glide, I got an amp meter in my fairing, and it's like, all right, I'm not charging, battery light comes on. I'm like 20 miles from home. All right, I'm going to get home. Hey, maybe it's a battery, because like with my bike, it's like, okay, the first owner was my dad. I pull up the black book. Well, you know what? This battery is like fucking 8 years old. Hey, maybe the battery finally took a shit, because batteries only last so long.
Right.
So I spend, the $100+ buy a new battery, put it in, take it for a ride. Hey, guess what? Battery light's still on. I'm still not charging. So then, I get out my fucking ohm meter, call a buddy of mine, because I'm not the most savvy guy with a multimeter or with an ohm meter. It's just something I didn't learn.
Electrical is the worst thing to learn, man. When I learned electrical, it was like the last thing on my list to try and like understand. Yeah, but I know what you mean.
And that's where I am. So, I called a buddy of mine that's an electrician. He was a nuclear electrician in the Navy. He's super smart. I'm like, hey, buddy, I'm, trying to do some troubleshooting. So he walked me through it, did some testing and find out, okay, my regulator's working. My stator's not working.
Yeah.
So, I call the dealership, say, hey, I need a new stator. They're like, hey, well, if you're doing that, you really should replace the regulator, because they kind of go hand in hand. I'm like, well, you know what? My regulator's working just great. It's a stator that's bad. And they're both about the same price, about $300. I'm like, give me this stator. So I replace the stator. Hey, everything's working great for about 2 weeks. Take off on a bike trip, make it like 300 miles from home, and guess what? That new stator fried my regulator.
Oh, God.
But that's where it comes in. It's like, I have one saddlebag on my bike that's dedicated. I got my socket set. I got some tools. I got cleaning products, cleaning terry cloths and whatnot for, keeping the bike clean and whatnot, because, I take pride in my bike. It's all, it's personal preference, but I'm broke down. I call this Harley dealership that, I'm at the bottom of the freaking Cascade Mountains in a little town. Like, oh, we don't have one. Sorry. It's like, I told her, I'm broke down on the side of the road. And she's like, really? She's like, hey, hold on. So she gets in her computer. She's like, hey, Owens Harley Davidson Yakima has one. She goes, they have only one. I'm like, cool. She actually, gives me their phone number. I call them. And I'm talking to him on the phone, my buddy Dustin, and all of a sudden he's over there putting his helmet on. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I'm heading to Owens. Like, seriously. And he looks at me, he's like, man, he goes, I know if I was broke down, you would be getting on your bike and going to do whatever you could. He goes, I'll see you in like 3.5 hours. I'm like, fuck. All right, buddy. So, I paid for the new regulator as he's, heading over the mountains. And my dad and his buddy Todd, they went to the barbecue place to have some good barbecue and beer. Said, hey, what? You babysit the bikes. We'll be back. I'm like, motherfuckers. But you know what? It just came, we had to buy a multimeter in a little town, but, being able to troubleshoot and having some mechanical knowledge, and like, my buddy Todd, who is actually a good friend of my dad's, like being an electrician his whole life of many different sorts, we were able to troubleshoot and find out, hey, you know what? your stator's working, but now the regulator's fried and it's not converting it. It's not sending it to the battery.
Yep.
Replace the regulator on the side of the road and on the way we go. But
well, at least it was the regulators right there in the front, and you can get to it pretty quick and easy. At least it wasn't stator again that took it. Yeah, a couple bolts and one wire plug and on your way.
But I will say, dude, you know what? Tracing those wires all the way to the battery, they do go through some funky places, and they can be a bitch to follow. But you know what? Like I said, you know what? Hey, it's all part of the memory. I mean, it sucked at the moment, but you're on the road afterwards, and those little stories, it's all part of the adventure. It's all part of the fun. Shit happens, but you get on with it, and
I always tell people, at least from my perspective, and when I tell people, I mean like family that maybe doesn't ride or friends that don't necessarily ride, because when they go and they say, "Damn, you went on a how long of a ride, and you went where?" And see, that's what they always ask. They go, "Where'd you go?" And to me, the shit I don't necessarily, or at least what I remember secondary sometimes, is the where I went and what I did when I was there. But I remember trips based off of what happened on the road. That time the dude got a flat tire. The time the fucking push rod got bent on the thing. The time my buddy crashed off of the side of the road. The time the throttle cable snapped on a bike. The time that my peg went falling off of my. Those are the ways that I remember my rides, because that's part of the journey. That's part of the fun. Oh, at least for me, that's part of the journey. That's part of the fun. Some people just want to get to their next bar and then their next bar or to their next destination and then just want to get it home. I wouldn't say I bring on the pain of breakdowns, but I embrace them. This is, I guess, the best way to put it.
Hey, it adds to the story. It adds to the memories. I mean, I can remember years back with a trip with my dad. He had just got his bike. Fuck, it was his first road ride. It was an 02. It just had, God, I don't know, was it 10,000 or the 20,000 mile service? And we were 700-800 miles into a trip. Hello,
Denver. Is my mom. She's taking off.
Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Okay.
My mom was over for dinner. She's going back home. Yeah. Bye, Mom.
But it's like my dad, we're going up the highway just outside of Ellensburg, Washington, and all of a sudden his bike just stops in the middle of the road. Stalls out, wouldn't start. We've messed with it for a while on the side of the road, and nothing, we couldn't get anywhere. We go back to the hotel, push it back to a hotel, end up getting a room because there was 3 of us. We're, sitting there talking, trying to figure shit out. It's like, hold on, okay, got spark, figured all this shit out. It's like, but, the fuel, it just doesn't want to ignite. And it was probably 30 minutes after we paid for the hotel room. Run out there, we start looking at his carburetor, and the O2 was still a vacuum-driven carburetor for the fuel, and the fucking vacuum hose that came off the carburetor.
Oh, so it wasn't sucking it. Wasn't getting anything.
Yeah, it's like, son of a bitch. And it might be an O2, but it's still running, old school technology. And we were looking over everything. Yep. I mean, I pushed him like a quarter mile back to the hotel. My bike was on the side of the road. So I'm pushing him. He's, just keep pushing. There's a hotel back here. And it's like, well, fuck it. We already got the room. We'll just hang out here. There's a little bar, restaurant across the parking lot. It's like, screw it. We're here for the night, so why not?
Yeah. Hey, there was me and my buddy Ben, we went to Laughlin this one time, and it was with my old man. And I forgot how long ago it was, man. It was probably at least 8, 9, 10 years ago. And my buddy at the time was riding this chopper. It was a special constructions bike. It was it was a soft tail, but it had a little bit bigger wheel. It was Harley-esque, but it had this American something motor in it. Anyways, it was a put-together bike. And so we rode that thing all the way out to Laughlin, and we got to a city called Ludlow. And Ludlow is literally, when you're coming from where I live going to Laughlin, Ludlow is the last place that you could gas up because it's about It's about 110 miles from that point to the next gas station, 100-ish miles. So you gotta, it's the last place for you to gas up. From that point, and we were going to be in Laughlin for, I think it was Thursday, so we were going to be there till Sunday. At that gas station, my buddy's bike decided the starter not to start. So he couldn't, he was hitting it, nothing. So, all right, well, let's just push you and we'll figure it out when we get to Laughlin. So we just pushed him, jump started him, got him rolling. Couldn't figure out when we were in Laughlin, messing with the ignition wires, opened up the console. All weekend long, dude, we had to push him everywhere we went. So we started figuring out, okay, you better park on that uphill so that when you go, you could go down and you could we could jump. So all weekend long, we figured out we're gonna have to push start him. We can't figure out how to fucking get this ignition going. And so we ride the whole weekend. We do whatever we got to do. We get all the way back to our last gas stop from home on our way back from Laughlin. Our last gas stop. That son of a bitch went to go hit that button, and guess what it did? It turned on. I was like, you son of a bitch, you've been making us push you all weekend long. He swore up and down. He's like, I swear, man, it wasn't starting all weekend. I remember that Laughlin trip for that stinking thing right there, man, for having to push him all weekend damn long.
Well, I can remember one trip, the family and I, my son was playing baseball in Idaho last summer because due to COVID, we couldn't play in Washington. So his team went to Idaho because, it was open because, it's one of those states that said, fuck everything. And so it's like,
and real quick side topic on that note, isn't it funny that you could just go and cross that border, or you can cross an imaginary line, all of a sudden you were able to go and do all kinds of shit?
Oh,
isn't that insane? Isn't that insane?
Yeah. So
anyways,
well, we're taking a route I'm not familiar with, and my wife's like, hey, why don't you ride the bike, because we're going down, stay basically with my brother from another mother's my best friend. He's got his Harley he bought, and so it's like, hey, you ride, me and the kids will take the truck. I'm like, hey, cool. I'm, awesome. So I'm looking at Google Maps, like, hey, I'm going to get stopped, gas down by Vancouver, Washington. I'll fuel up here. And then I said, I should be able to make it to Ontario, Oregon, and then to Kuna, Idaho. So I'm coming up with my third gas stop, or according to Google Maps, hey, there's a Chevron in this little podunk town. And I pulled the Chevron, literally my fucking gas light's on, and Google says, hey, Chevron is here. Yeah. Fucking Chevron station was under construction.
Oh, jeez.
Ontario was like another 20 something fucking miles. So I get back on the freeway and make it about a mile. I'm out of gas. So the wife and kids, they go down to Ontario, buy a 5-gallon gas can that the truck stop charged them $40 for a gas can. They get back, you can find out, start looking at it, that somebody had obviously returned it because either it was broken or they broke it. The safety valve wouldn't work. It wouldn't dispense gas. So we get in the truck, my son had a 1-liter bottle, pop bottle. So he cut the bottom off it, made a, funnel, laying gas towels all over my gas tank so we don't leak gas everywhere. It's like, fuck, put some gas in them. Like, fuck, this is good enough. I can make it to Ontario. We get down there to the, it's like, we're taking the gas can back. I'm like, fuck, hell, $40. It don't work. No shit. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
And there's probably a gallon left in it. We go inside and like, oh, we can't take that back. There's gas in it. My son's like, yeah, well, it's broke. We can't dispense fuel. And the guy looks at him. Hey, unscrew the lid. Just go outside and dump it on the ground. Then bring me the gas can back. I'm like, you fucking serious? Whatever. So my son takes it out there, dumps it out. Hey, here's your gas can back. And they gave him the money, but it's like, that's just fucked up.
That's
just,
funny,
one
man.
of those things, like, what, we're taking a different route that I hadn't ridden before. So it's like, hey, let me check Google Maps. Let me map out where we're going so I can, I know my range, but I like to kind of cut it short. So I'd plan my gas stops 150 to 175 miles because I got the 5-gallon tank. I'm on an 04 Road Glide.
Okay.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. So, hey, we'll stop here. We'll go here. We'll go here. And yeah, well, I think it was gas stop number 3 didn't fucking pan out how I planned.
Man, 150 miles, that's pretty good, man. I got that 107 with a 58 millimeter throttle body. It's throwing gas in there, like, and I'm riding hard. So I'm getting like, I guess I can get about 150, 180, but it depends how fast I guess I'm going, you know?
Yeah, and kind of like the area you get down between Washington and Oregon on the Columbia River Gorge, and you get a lot of wind. And I mean, when we were coming back, I had a headwind, dude. No shit, it was so bad. I'm wide open doing 65 miles an hour. And if I let off the throttle, it was like I was slamming on my brakes. The wind would
Jeez.
literally stop me. And so, I mean, I could go 200 miles, but I just, if I'm going through an area that's not familiar to me that I haven't been through, I'd rather err on that side of caution. Say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go here. I'm going to stop here. Just, I like to do my homework when I'm doing trips and especially areas that I haven't been through. It's like, you know what? Let me err on the side of caution because I
Yeah.
don't know this area. So, hey, there's, supposed to be a gas station here. Google fucked me once, but that's only one time so far.
I'm an idiot and like to throw caution to the wind, man. I like to just get for some stupid reason. I like to try and get in as many miles in between, gas stops as I can possibly get. So I'll sometimes look at my gas gauge and go, I can make it. And I'll just keep rolling, like, and then I get to that point sometimes where I'm like, I get about 10 miles, 5, 10 miles past the town that I got. I'm like, damn, I should have. I started double guessing myself. Then I'm like, maybe I should have just stopped. But I've pushed the limits of I pushed the limits a few times, man. I've done it. I've done it myself.
Oh, I did that when me and a buddy did this 9/11 ride up here in Washington. We went up to Canadian border with, I mean, shit, there was well over 200 bikes. I mean, we stretched for over a mile up I-5. And coming back, we took the ferry coming home and like, man, I think I can make it all the way. And I was probably 60 miles from home. The gas light came on and there's a fuel station about, I think, I just mapped it out, about 22 miles from my house. I'm like, man, dude, I don't know if I'm going to fucking make it. I'm like, hey, we're going to pull in here to the Longhouse. Let's get gas. And I took 4.8 gallons in a 5-gallon tank. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I would have made it home.
Yeah, I've had those
But,
moments, man.
For me, it's like, I mean, I do have the gas gauge, but I also, having the dual trip meters, I will reset one of my trip meters every time I get gas. Just in case that error caution, hey, my gas gauge says this much, and I look at my trip meter, I'm like, fuck, man, I don't know. I'm at 160 miles. I know how far I can go, and I'm not sure I want to trust my gas gauge at the minute, but
I feel you.
it's just something I do. Every time I get gas, I reset. I think it's, trip B. I'll reset it, even though I might have a fuel gauge, but it's just one of those habits I developed over the years, even from when I didn't have a gas gauge, knowing the mileage of my bike. Why not?
That everyone has their own ways of riding and things that keep them rolling, I guess, basically the best way to put it. Some people are religious about checking their tire pressure every time they stop or every time they get on the bike, and some people are religious about making sure that every time they stop there's topped off like full gas no matter what. Like everyone has their own type of shit, so I get it. I get it. We have our own tendencies.
Oh, dude, I got a buddy. It's like you can take a 2-3 day bike trip. Every morning, the next day, he's out there with his cleaners. I mean, his bike will be spotless every morning the next day because he will scrub that motherfucker down.
I got a friend like that too, man. He anytime we stop, he he opens up the saddlebag, he grabs a terry cloth, and he starts wiping down that black beauty. He's just constantly wiping that thing down, man. Every time we stop, he's always wiping that thing.
I mean, and I've gotten that way. It's like I said, my saddlebag on the left, it's got my toolkit and socket set. I got a little DeWalt duffel bag with, pliers, zip ties, some odds and ends shit. And then I have, probably 5, 6, 7 terry cloths. I got, my Lucas speed cleaner. I also really love the Law Abiding Bikers bug slide. Dude, that shit is awesome. And,
Okay.
I've got the same way. I'll wipe it down, clean it, and I mean, there are some days you might have one of those shit rides where it's just fucking plastered. I'm like, fuck it, it ain't worth it. You know, you get some of those night rides where all of a sudden it looks like you killed fucking 1 million bugs on the front of your bike. It's like, yeah, I'll just go to a fucking car wash.
Yeah. Those I get those when I go on the long stuff. You live up in the area where you probably get a lot more bugs on the at nighttime than we do. But you know what I get over here? Because we're only, let's see, no more than 10 miles, and that's probably a stretch or 7-8 miles away from the beach. And what we get over here is we get like this film from like the ocean water, where it's just like on my dad's bike, which is all chrome, and you'll see it on your paint and your gloss powder coat also. But on the chrome is where you really see it. It just leaves like this haze or this kind of film over the top of your chrome. And man, it is you have to stay on top of it. It'll eat at your chrome. It's got that salt water, all that stuff in there. It'll start to pit your chrome. So that's one of the pain of asses about being over here on this close to the beach is you get that mist and that haze on your bike all the damn time.
And we get that if you get the fog, because like where I'm at, I mean, I'm a quarter mile from the saltwater, from the bluffs that overlook the Strait of Juan de Fuca. So you can get your bike outside, and it's like, sometimes in the summer we'll get that fog, and you'll get that haze, that marine moisture that will settle on your bike. And you got to keep up on the polish to help protect it, to kind of protect that chrome, or like, if you're fortunate enough, not all of us can have a garage. Some guys, not everybody does, but you being able to have a garage to keep it inside also is a big deal.
It's not cover your bike, cover it, man, because if you live anywhere near the ocean, cover the bike if you can. Fucking salt water would just eat that shit like crazy.
Oh yeah, very true.
Yeah. My dad's bike is all chrome. Rest in peace, old man. But man, I used to have a chrome Road King, and it was black, and the whole engine was chrome, and the primary and everything on that thing was chrome, man. Chrome bars, chrome spoked wheels. I mean, it was a Vikla, man. It was a gangster one, and I love that thing. But man, was cleaning that bitch. That thing was such a pain in the ass to clean. And when I sold it and got rid of it and moved on from it, I was like, I don't have any more chrome. And, rest in peace, old man. But I inherited my old man's bike, it's Fat Boy, which is all chrome. And I'm right back over there, man. Chrome is a totally different ball game. You are sitting there polishing and wiping, and there's no wiping on chrome like you can with paint and shit and powder coat. You're freaking just wiping and polishing. It is a religious thing to have chrome on your damn bike because you are servicing it so much.
Well, that, and same with chrome wheels. I mean, not chrome wheels, but spoked wheels. Jesus, they can be an absolute fucking nightmare.
Dude, I
remember spoked wheels on one bike. I told myself, never again.
Hey, I remember, and because when I first started riding over 15 years ago, my style was different, and what I wanted on a bike was different, so I had more of a Vikla style, 21-inch spoke wheel, 16-inch rear, 8 hangers, that type of stuff. And I remember sitting there because Sunday was the day to go out, boy. Sunday you were cruising. And I remember sitting in the garage Saturday night, this apartment that I had, and it had a detached garage that I had to share with somebody. And all I had was my bike in that thing. And I'd go in there, man, and I'd wrap a towel around that thing, and I'd sit up and down every single stinking spoke, man. And I would polish the heck out of that thing. And boy, I mean, I would sit there for hours. I would sit there legit for hours on end, just like meticulously cleaning that thing. But I'll tell you what, that thing was sparkling like a diamond when it rolled out on Sunday morning and it was cruising out on Sundays. Boy, that thing was sparkling, man. For sure, blind you.
Well, that came back earlier. You talk about wrenching, the pride you take in it. That also, I think, comes into, how you care for your bike. A lot of these guys, I mean, they will go beyond the extra mile, but they're taking pride in what they own. And, man, there is nothing wrong with that.
No, man. You had mentioned earlier, you said that I heard you say that, you like to keep your bike clean. That's just the way you like, you're wiping it down and stuff. But on the flip side of that, I keep mine clean as well. Maybe, I'll wipe it down when I'm on the road a little bit just to keep up with the clean of it. But there's also an advantage like on a mechanical side of it, because when you have a leak or you have something that happens, you'll be able to identify something like that much quicker than if you have grime on your bike and you have all this shit. You can't tell if it's just a grime on your bike or now you have some sort of leak or you have something going on. When your bike is kind of maintained and clean and well kept, and then all of a sudden you see a wet spot on it, well, something's wrong. Something's out of whack. So it's, keeping a clean bike. Yes, we may talk a little bit of shit and rag on people for wiping it down all the time, but there is a benefit. There is a positive there's a flip side to it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's something that I don't know. It bugs me. You see people that will spend these fuck me brand new Harleys aren't cheap, 20, 30. You get up to CVOs, you're 40, 50 grand.
Yep.
And you'll see guys where even up here in Washington, say in the summertime, where hey, we haven't had rain in 2 months, and a guy's bike is just it looks like he rode through a mud pit, and it's like I can see the same guy for 6 months and know that, dude, he's never cleaned it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Dude, you have a fucking, damn near brand new bike. It's a beautiful bike. Fucking take care of it. It irks me. I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Oh, God, it pisses me off.
I would too, man, because when all this engine stuff happened with my bike, options were like, okay, do I just buy another engine, put an engine in this thing and just sell this thing and start over? And I started looking at the new bikes, not start over, but get the new platform. Like, obviously there's the M8 now, right? I'm still a twin cam. I'm still a twin cam guy.
Man. I'm not sold on the M8 whatsoever.
Well, okay. So on that note, when my engine took a shit and I was weighing out my options, option A was, or cheapest was rebuild the bottom end, which is what I did, or just buy a new crank. And that's what I ended up doing. B was buy a whole nother S&S engine, or it was like, okay, put an engine in here, get it just running for somebody and sell it, and then go and step into the new platform. And the reason I was kicking that idea around a little bit is because at first I wasn't sold on the M8s. And then that's, I guess, either me being not a purist, because twin cams aren't like the fucking original shit of a Harley, but I guess I don't know if that's just me being and just stuck in my ways type shit and going like twin cam is a shit. That's what I grew up with. All hail twin cam.
Well, but I'm the same way, but I think for me, it's more or less I've had one for a while. I've had, buddies and whatnot, friends, and I'm comfortable working on one. I know the mechanics of it. I'm not as afraid to dive into and work on shit as where an M8 is like, dude, I don't know it. I'm not familiar with it. I've read plenty of in the beginning, but it's still a new motor. What are they, 4 or 5 years old now? My opinion, they're kind of still working bugs out of it, but I'm not mechanically familiar with it where I don't want to own one yet. I don't want one.
So on that note, yes, you're right. We probably can agree on that because we haven't worked on one yet like we have on a twin cam. Once I have one, I'm probably going to be taking the thing apart and taking a look at how it works and all that stuff. And I have an idea. Trust me, I've gone to the shop that's down the street from me that I'm good friends with, my garage in Ventura. I go to there, over there, and my buddy Mikey's over there working on it. He's got it down to the pistons and just the bottom end with the rod sticking out and stuff. And it's an M8. And I mean, it's all the same stuff. It's just more valves on top. That's it. It's more, it's bigger. That's it. It's the same pistons. It's it's a very similar setup, but now single cam. Yes, single cam. But the concept is the same. You open up that cam plate. There's a cam. Or you open up the thing. There's a cam plate there. There's still a chain there. But instead of having two of them, you only have one cam that's been, So there's a couple of. But I mean, overall functionality of it is generally, the same when it comes to So anyways, long story short, when I was also trying to get to, when I was looking at my other options for the bike was jumping into that platform. But as you had said, it's 20 grand. It's 30 grand to buy these bikes. I found some that were maybe 17, 18 grand. But come on, Denver, let's be real. Right out of the gate, I'm going to be $5,000, $7,000, $8,000 in to put bars, to put an exhaust, to get some decent suspension on the thing. I'm going to be deep into that thing like that. And so as much as I was like, this is the opportunity. Oh, go, baby. Touchdown. As much as this was the opportunity for me to be able to jump into that platform, the dollars, I was just like, boy, I just don't want to. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of stinking money.
Oh, it is. Like, I mean, I'm riding an 04. I would love to go to the 2010, 2012, go to a 110, is my next. I don't know. Me personally, I'm not sold on the Milwaukees. It's not something that I just, I don't want one yet. I'm comfortable with the twin cams. It's where mechanically I feel I can, still fuck with them, do what I need to do the maintenance, and I don't need to rely on a dealership. And it's for me, it's where I'm comfortable at, and I like them, I enjoy them, and nothing against the newer Harleys, but they don't have that sound.
You could do some stuff to them to make them sound, but another reason that I was kicking it around is because the cost to make one of those faster versus the cost to what it takes to make a twin cam faster is different. You can make more power, and this is why I was looking at them, because I was looking at engine stuff and like, what am I going to do? And so you can make more power out of those M8s with less money than it would cost you to do a big ass V-twin with heads and ported heads and pistons and all that stuff. The bottom ends, supposedly in these new M8s is pretty stout. They can take a good beating, where all you have to do is worry about, you want a 128, you want a 131, you want a 140. These people make like 145s now or something. There's people out there making 150 something. They're making giant ones where you can just bolt these cylinders on.
On the flip side, okay, now let's flip spectrums.
Okay,
you can go, 130, 140, you talk 150s. For me, it's like, okay, give me a little bit of horsepower. I want longevity. It's not so much where I can go to some, bike event where, hey, I'm running 120. I got this fat tire. I'm putting down 130 horse. Hey, that's great. What's your longevity? I might build mine and say, hey, you know what? I might be only putting out, say, 110. I got, 120 foot-pounds of torque. But you know what? My longevity is going to take me a long fucking ways over what your horsepower is going to take you, in a year? Okay, say I'm talking to my ass. You got a 150 horse engine. Maybe it's going to last you a year. I might build mine a little bit, give me a little bit more horsepower, a little bit more torque, just a little bit more oomph for those, whether you're loaded down, you're two-up riding, whatever. Yeah. But I'm going to build my bike for longevity, not for numbers where I can go to some bike event and say, hey, you know what? Here's what I'm putting down. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
That's just not my thing. And, if I want to build the bike, I want, more numbers, but I want that longevity. I don't want to have to rebuild it in another year or two. I want to be able to go 100,000, 150, 200,000 miles and still have plenty of longevity in my engine, but still give it just enough oomph where, hey, you know what? I'm good.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's a balance.
After going through basically two engines with my twin cam, yeah, you're absolutely right, because that's exactly the type of scenario that I was in. I built a hot rodded 107 for my road glide, and it's got all the shit that you want to put on it, right? But it's a nice little hot rod engine that I like to get on, and it only lasts me so many damn miles, because that's the price that you pay when you take an engine and you soup it up and shit like that, So you're absolutely right. There is a balance, or there's a trade-off, I guess, is what you may want to call it. There's a trade-off between the two. And so I'm building another bike. Like, I'm going to build a tribute bike for my old man. He never got a road glide. and I want to be able to build that bike to take it on long trips. And that's a 96 right now. And I would, and what I want to do with that one is exactly what you're talking about. I want to take it on long trips. I want some power there so that when I need to get out of a situation or I need to kind of go, then I want it there. But I want longevity out of it. So I'll take I'll take that 96 and only go to like a 103, not crazy headwork, not a gigantic cam, just something subtle that's just there, but it'll get me some more miles out of it. That's the route I'm definitely going to go with that bike.
And that's where mine is. And mine was an 04, so it came out as the 88. It's been bumped up to a 95. I got it got 50 odd thousand. I got the paperwork. I want to say 52,000. The gear driven 252 cams, the programmer, some other shit done and the head work and whatnot that my dad did. So it was bumped up to a 95 at around, 52,000 miles.
Okay.
And it's not a whole lot, but you know what? It's still, if I want to pass the car even 2 up and, I got plenty of oomph, I can get out of the way. But you know what? I'm at 105,000 miles. I keep up on the regular maintenance, and whatnot, and you keep up on the bike. That's the other thing. Take care of the bike. It's going to take care of you.
Yeah, definitely.
Keep up on your fluids and whatnot, and, check your shit, bearings and whatnot, head stems, everything in your triple trees. Checking, I mean, like we said earlier, your tire pressure. You got guys say, put away their bikes for the wintertime. You store your bike 2, 3, 4 months. It doesn't take a whole lot of pressure in your tires. It will affect your handling. Hey, if you put your bike away for the winter, take that 1 minute, roll it forward, get it in a convenient place, of course. Hey, check your air pressure, check your oil, check your fluids, especially, if you put your bike away for the winter, hey, why not? You want to roll it out after 3 or 4 months, put some fresh fluids in it.
Yep.
But just keep up on your regular maintenance, and that bike will keep up on you.
Do you guys or are you in a snow area? Like, does it snow work?
It's it's hit and miss, but I mean, I'm fortunate enough I can ride pretty much year round. There could be maybe a 2-3 week period. December, January, February, we might get snow. Maybe I can't ride for 2, 3, 4 weeks, but I'm one of those guys. Hey, it might be 45 and blue skies, dude. I'm gonna go for a ride.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, I say that because I've lived here in Southern California all my life, so it's not really something that I have to think about, like storing a bike or like putting it away for like set amount of months because it's going to snow or anything like that. Do you need to? And I'm asking this because do you need to drain your fluids before you store it or anything, or you put anything in it, or you just sort of
some
let it
people
go?
might, but I mean, in my garage is fully insulated. I mean, I'm out here a lot during the winter. I got a full, wood stove. So, my garage is somewhat heated, I guess you could say. But with the insulation, even in the springtime, if it's sat for, I think when it comes for me in springtime, I will drain all my fluids and just change them. But, I try to get my bike out every few weeks, at least go for a ride, kind of stir up the fluids, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But in springtime, whether it's time for a change, I will drain them all, change the primary, the tranny, I'll change your engine oil, get it all ready. But I think it depends on how you kind of store your bike, what the environment, what you have your ability to store your bike at. Not all people will have a garage, maybe some have a carport, or you keep it covered, you do what you can. And I think that is also going to affect the when you want to change your oil, especially in the wintertime. I mean, for me, I live at the base of, the Olympic Mountains. One of the few places you can come down here to the saltwater beach. You can take a drive 45 minutes and be up in the snow, even in summertime.
That's pretty nice. I like that. I've been thinking about getting out of this state, man. I've been looking at properties in other places and other towns and not looking for, but just seeing the types of jobs that are available out there,
Yeah.
I think I don't want to say I think I'm ready or I think I'm done with California because I'm fucking born and raised here, man. and I love it here. I mean, I love it here. I really do. But I'm tired of how much it costs to live here. I'm tired of all the politic crap and everything else that goes along with it. I'm tired of
Mhm.
that portion of it. But the environment, everything about this place, man, the weather and the vibe and the beach and the mountains just right up the way, and I got canyons galore. I'm just a short distance from everything around here. Like, I love that, but
When it
gosh,
comes to riding culture, I mean, you're based in a great area where you're fortunate enough. I mean, you can literally ride 12 months out of the year. And
yep,
what, how many days do you ever get below 50 to go ride?
yeah, no, hey, you be talking shit, man. It gets like 45 around here, dude. Don't be.
What, at fucking midnight when you're sleeping?
Hey, you know what? Listen, it gets like around 45 degrees here. Sometimes it gets to 50. Hey, it's cold, man. It's cold around here. What? I don't know if it's the ocean breeze or we're just
Oh, shit.
bunch of sissies, man. But it's a chill around here. It gets cold around here. I'll
Yeah,
shut up
I'm sure
now
it does.
because
Yeah.
what you're gonna what does it
That
get over
California
there?
cold's a bitch, ain't it?
What does it get over there?
Hey, I know the other morning let's see, last week I went to work and the alarm in my truck kept alarming because it was 34 degrees.
Uh, yeah, 34 degrees. It doesn't get that cold here. It's
Yeah.
got maybe, but
Maybe
no.
what, 50?
No, no, it gets cold. If
Oh,
it hits
shit.
if it hits like 45 around here, man, there's something about that ocean breeze that maybe it's not that cold, but I've been to the mountains where there's snow and shit. I've gone like snowboarding and I've gone up to Colorado and I've ridden in some cold shit, but it gets cold around here. All right,
Yeah,
I'll shut
I'm
up.
sure it does. You got to put on a sweatshirt. You don't own coats, you just own sweatshirts, buddy.
Hey, I got coats. I got coats.
Yeah, I'm sure you haven't seen them in 2 years, but you have them in the closet.
Fair
Hey,
enough, man. Fair
yeah.
enough.
Hey, hang out for a minute though. Hey guys, man, this has been a lot of fun. Bullshit with Ray. Milepost 46 this whole Vtwin Life adventure has been fucking awesome. By all you guys tuning in, the comments, the support, I can't thank you all enough. We're all just guys, like Ray and myself share the passion for motorcycles like everybody else has been on here. And man, it's a lot of fun. And hey, you know what? We're twisting throttle and we're not going to stop. These mileposts are going to keep on rolling. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Hey, y'all ride safe, have fun. And we'll catch you next week on the next milepost.